Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode of the ABJ Podcast, episode, my favorite number, 13. Before we get into anything, I want to let you guys know, welcome to 2023. We are kicking this one off with a bang. I'm going to be a little transparent here pull the curtain back a bit. This is one that you're going to see again very soon. So this conversation is going to continue after you see this today because there's an environment I want to capture this interview in. And there's no better way to showcase this person than one place that we're going to talk about here in a moment. But before we get into this interview, check out the links below for all things ABJ. Brand new year 2023 collection is out. The brand new I Heart ABJ t-shirt is out. The brand new 2023 Year of ABJ t-shirt is out. All the old stuff is out. I believe there's a sale going on in a couple days on Teespring, so you can get t-shirts for as low as $13. Also, this carny stuff I hate doing. But if you guys can, there is a Patreon. It's a monthly subscription thing you can do. Right now, it's just general support. If you guys have any ideas for bonus content you would like on there, please tell me, and I'll work on it, I promise. But right now, that general support is just kind of helping me with travel, helping me with getting keeping this show afloat, keeping the show going. You can do as little as $1. You can do any dollar amount you want. It's completely up to you. But if 100 people do $1, that pays the bills for the show for the month and then puts a little gas money in my car so I can travel from show to show, and then maybe even put a little extra aside for equipment. Because I am striving to get a little bit different camera setup so I can do more on location interviews. They won't be live, so you guys can join in to talk, but there's going to be a lot of cool visual things you're going to get out of that. New content come for 2023. Horror movies with myself and Heidi. Movie, TV, music, and reviews. No, it's open to any guest. So if you're into a movie or you want me to review a movie, tell me and anything, and we'll talk about it. So that's coming up soon, as well as the most exciting thing is beer, brewery, and dive bar reviews. I'm going to be traveling all over the place to these bars I've never been to, breweries, just coming in and giving a complete review of the bar and the environment and stuff. I cannot personally wait for that. I think that's going to be so much fun, but that is coming in 2023. Also, links below for the brand for independent wrestlers that are injured right now. Philly Mike and Adena Steele. Both recently just had some serious injuries. They're going to be out for quite some time. So if you could support them, they have merchandise, they have subscription services, please, and go show them some support. Even just follow them on social media and say, hey, we're thinking about you. So got all that out of the way. I am in a complete rush mode right now. Speaking of injured people, I'm literally just getting home from Philly Mike's physical therapy session. So I'm all over the place. But if you guys can hit those like buttons, hit subscribe if it's your first time here, and let's get those numbers. We just hit 420 today. Nice. So we are getting closer and closer to that 500 mark. Without further ado, let's bring in the star of any venue, any event that he walks into. He is the thespian, J.S. Hawthorne.
Oh, Tony, that was so nice. Thanks.
What is going on, my guy?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for that long intro. I was like, all right, I posted on Twitter and
I was giving you time. I got it on Twitter. I didn't get it on Facebook, but we'll get it later. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But man, I don't want to sound like a broken record because I do have a lot of people on this podcast that truly mean a lot to me, and I'm very fortunate enough to be in this business and also be in this business with people who they overcome that friendship barrier. And I consider you family. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people I've had early on this podcast in this short 13 episode span. But dude, we met a long time ago, and I remember we met through a mutual friend. And you were on the huskier side. You had you had like a science teacher look. You didn't have the long hair. You had I wish we had photos to pull up. And I remember you're like, yeah, you're into wrestling because you kind of start talking to me through our friend Nikolai, who kind of got me into the podcast space. And then you're like, oh, I also love pro wrestling. I'm gonna start training. And I was like, dude, this guy with the bright red hair, like he's gonna become a wrestler. Dude, you absolutely transformed yourself into a completely different human. And I remember when the first time I was like, holy shit, not only is John a professional wrestler, but he's gonna fucking take over the scene, is when you went to Outbreak quarantine sessions, that tryout, and you cut that promo and you sent it to me. And I remember just looking at it going, if he's a 10th 100% in the ring, what he just did on that promo, this guy is going to take over. And then your wrestling ability matched what your character was and what you can speak and what you can do. And dude, you are this year alone, 2020, last year alone, 2022, everywhere you've traveled, man, you've really outstretched yourself and you are doing amazing things. There's been a lot of shows that I went to that you're at, man, and you representing the Sanctuary stole the show. Absolutely stole the show.
Oh, Tony, if I wasn't getting like washed out right now, you would see very, very flushed cheeks. I'm it's weird. Like I like to project, like I have like confidence and things like that. But when people like legit give me compliments like that, I'm just like, stop. So it means a lot, man. I saw myself doing it from a young age, and I didn't really wasn't in like I'm interested in a lot of things. I just didn't want to do them as bad as I wanted to do this, and I'm glad I went to college and all those things. But when I finally got to make the connections, and like I'll say to like I talked to Nicola, I was talking to people outright. It was just, hey, I want to be a wrestler. And I don't know if you knew the story about how the last day of my college career, I said, it was literally the last class of the last day of my college career. I said, hey, I'm a big wrestling fan. And Ronnie Flores says, yeah, I train in Hazleton. And I'm like, that's not far. And here we are 3 years later.
I was somewhat aware of the Sanctuary, but not to the extent of what it is now, like how much I'm into it now. And I will say a huge part of me coming to the Sanctuary is 100% you.
Oh man, thanks. Like, dude, it blows my mind. Like looking back at the archives of stuff, like some of it's synced sometimes because you know some like old like technology gets corrupted when you try to like bring it into new spheres like YouTube or things like that when it's been recorded on hard drives and stuff like that. So, but like going back and seeing even the stuff that's just on YouTube now of the people that have come through Sanctuary, I'm still surprised every so often where I'm like, oh, it's Jordan Grace and Jonathan Gresham. What? That just happened. So,
Britt Baker won the women's tournament here. Like, Anthony Bowens was almost the first champion of the Sanctuary.
I can only hope that the next generation of guys that come through to train, because that's really our main focus of training, is like, I hope to be that person that people kind of want to aspire to, of like, hey, they're doing really cool things. They came through here. I can do that too. So that's just one of those like things. And, and again, it's guys like Ace, it's guys like D3, it's guys like James, it's girls like Jamie Senegal and everybody else that just all kinds of people. You can't. I can't fathom like in my head of just like, yeah, they may have just come in for a sip of tea and left, but it's like they were here.
Yeah. Swerve Strickland. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, John still talks with Swerve. Still talks with Brain. NXT. Why am I blanking on his name?
Well, I know I had a whole conversation with Bowens about the Sanctuary. He was very positive about his experience there. When I talked to Swerve Strickland, I said, dude, I'm a commentator at the Sanctuary. He goes, I miss that fucking place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's people in the business who still think very highly of that.
That's like thanks to John and Billy of like, because they've known so many people and they've touched so many people, I've been able to have that confidence to say, hey, I'm from here. I trained under these people. We have this connection. Now I'm really cool with Masha Slamovich. I didn't think that was going to happen.
I'm such a mega. Well, it's funny. I didn't know that the guy, essentially Walker, who was training everybody at the Sanctuary for a while, was her trainer. And I walk in the Sanctuary one day thinking I found the newest gem in professional wrestling. I'm like, everyone stop. Everyone has to look up this wrestler, Masha Slamovich. And I'm gushing over her. And Billy's like, I've known her since she's 17. I was like, she's the best.
Yeah. And it just like, and what tricks my head is that it's a testament to both the skill of both of them as far as, so you've seen Billy train the boys at all, right?
Yeah.
It's he gets the hands on you. and he trains that way because you got to know it to be able to work it and stuff like that. But he's very old school, who would never put his hands on a lady. So everything he imparted to Masha was without him having to put his hands, and how good Masha is to be able to interpret his hieroglyphics of his way of speaking, and to do it for herself and to translate it. It's just
and she's training now. She's the head trainer of a place, and one of the people I'm a huge fan of is Cosmic and Rembrandt. And Cosmic went and started training under her, and you can tell and she was good before, but you can tell now of just a couple months working with Masha, this chick is, I'm telling you, Cosmic's going to be another name in the independent wrestling scene you need to keep your eye on, because she's going to tear shit up.
I love women's wrestling. It's the shit. It pumps me out. It's like it's one of the ways of like it's like the oversaturated conversation we were having before about like with men's athletics. It's very impressive to see men be super athletic and to do these things like that. And a lot of the time people drag women's wrestling because it's less flippy doo-dah, and some guy like some girls can't go like to that physical level that some guys do. But their work and their psychology is so much better, where I'll watch, I really like watching like vets, like old school, really good worker vets, like Roddy Piper when he worked with Brett, or like these guys that older and younger. So you can see how the older wrestlers are working. And the way I kind of tie that in is like, yeah, the women can't go to that physical level like a vet could, but they have to work around that, and how they work around that is so much more interesting to me and tells a better story than, oh great, he just did a moonsault and stuff like that.
And a lot of the girls are leaning on the technical prowess and the strong style, which is making it like, oh, these women are just beating the dog shit out of each other. This is great. I mean, love her or hate her for some of the controversy, but Tessa Blanchard set a bar for everybody. She essentially fought like a New Japan strong style dude and just took that into women's wrestling, and then everyone kind of modeled themselves after it.
Do you know who hits really fucking hard? Riley Crow.
Oh yeah. And her kid. Did I've been telling her? I said, you need to get to a gym. You need to buy one of those dummies that like you put in your living room and just work on kicks. I think you can sell yourself on kicks alone because she has she has big quads. Like she's very strong legs.
Did you see the pre-show match her and I did at Frontier?
I have not. No.
I'll send you the link. It's the only that's the only like legit intergender match I've had so far, and I loved it. But oh my god, there were like one or two times you'll see me just eat it from her, and I'm just like, oh.
She's gonna have a big year this year, I think.
I hope so. I really do.
Riley's gonna do some cool shit this year, and Riley can easily slide into that. I mean, it's hard to say there's a void soon coming with Masha because she seems to keep working as hard as she is in Impact as she is on the indie scene. Yeah, I think like, you know what I mean? Like I think Riley can fill that void.
I'm sorry, Tony. I just fantasy booked Masha and Riley as a tag team, and I just got goosebumps.
Tag team or a one-on-one.
I'm okay.
I don't put things out in the universe for them not to eventually happen. But yeah, we got way off track, and I love the fact that we're putting over everybody by doing that. So going back to the Sanctuary, and when I say this, I'm not saying this to badger, I'm not saying this to be negative, but the perception of the Sanctuary for a little bit of time there was not good, and I want to talk more about that with the correct person, because I think sitting down with John will definitely be something in the future that we'll be doing, and he can definitely tell that story himself because he's very open about his changes of his personal self and reinventing the Sanctuary into a different image. I remember, like, your class of people, I think, have really, like you, Palco, Polino, like you three who are still the active ones currently, have, I feel, really changed. Like, oh shit, talent's coming back out of the Sanctuary again. Because I think there was a point there where people were like it wasn't deemed, I would think, as like a legitimate wrestling school. And I think some people there for a while there were kind of writing the Sanctuary off. And I think you three coming in there, putting on the work you did, and then just as of last year, starting to branch yourselves out and working in other places and going to the Outbreaks and going to the Frontiers and showing up at GCW and just working everywhere you guys worked. And like, for example, I really think you and Polino in Outbreak where you guys had a showcase match for Sanctuary the day of the legendary Hamburg Fieldhouse. And in my opinion, and I may be super biased, but in that entire card of 13 matches, I think you guys were the top match of the day. And I think you guys really put the Sanctuary back on the map. And then more students started flowing in. And now you're kind of with John and Billy and Andre, like you three are really stepping up and now are becoming trainers yourself. And you're really reinventing of what that building can be and what that building can do for other people.
Yeah, that really, it's a whole thing. Definitely, yeah. Talking to John he's the source of a lot of it. That I'm going to try not to bring up some stuff, so as I want him to tell that story.
Yeah.
But especially with like me and Andre being like training some of the boys now, it's the classic adage of you don't truly know it unless you can teach it, and it's a good. What people don't realize is like, yeah, you want to work people that are better than you. Always. That's just a general that'll help you get better. But training people that are still coming up and need to work on their fundamentals continuously reminds you of what those specific things that you were taught were the things you got to kind of keep in mind about, like just it's so it becomes ingrained in you.
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful for that. But even before I got to Sanctuary, so I got to Sanctuary in January of 2019, and I had like messaged John, and he thought I was from the state. Like that's what John was going through at the time, like back when the state athletic commission was still kind of that case was still kind of open. But so it's like you had all these things that were on his mind of like college professoring and all just series of
trying
events.
To manage life and his dream.
Well, yeah, and then you have wrestling drama and egos from years because John's been in it since the 90s, and so like you have all these years of either relationships you're trying to balance, of like people want things, you're trying to do other things, and I think there was just always this vision that John had and stuff that he wanted to do, because Sanctuary had been running since 2014 in some capacity as far as just being a studio for wrestling. But even still, there were guys coming in to train like Ace Austin, because that was a whole thing of like Ace, even I think he had mentioned about that he wasn't sure if Sanctuary was like a taboo thing or not until like he got the okay from Sam, and then he was like, oh, this place is awesome. So there were people coming in to work out or train and learn things.
Your first year, you had Ace hanging out a lot. You had Jamie hanging out a lot. And you had Colby Carino hanging out there a lot, which is like, holy shit, that's really three good people to sharpen your skills around.
Oh yeah, no, that was an instant like, what the hell, and
then Toa Maivia popping in and out like.
I met Melina. I met Steve Carino. It's like people I had no business like that soon. I was like, okay, that reaffirms that like shit that I already knew of, like, okay, my trainers are legit people.
Yeah.
That they didn't need these people to justify them or to back them up, but it's a nice little visual reminder of they through these people it's possible, like. That's why I'll always say to people, one of the big reasons I got into wrestling was Nacho Libre, because there's no way it could be that easy to get into wrestling and to meet these people and do these things. It kind of is. Once you get your foot in the door and you talk to the right people, and it just kind of, I'm so fucking lucky. I really am.
I showed up at a wrestling show and they're like, you're going to help with a meet and greet. I was like, what do I do? And they're like, just stand next to him for 3 hours. I was like, the guy who I just been watching on TV since I'm a kid, they're like, yeah. And I was just like, what are we doing?
But so with like coming in, coming in the cold, in this ice cold church, just kind of figuring it out. And like when I got, like the first day I was there were a bunch of people like from the season before at Sanctuary. Not too many like well-known names, but like, it was just there were other people, and like there were some people flowing in and out, that we had the space, I guess. John had the space to do a bit of a reset, because that was the big story of that time was like, oh, we're getting shut down by the state and we have to kind of start from ground zero, or the roster left. Because that's that little bit in the beginning of season 9 with Killian McMurphy. Killian McMurphy, another like former Sanctuary champion, who's an absolute unit right now, and
the game.
So, so that was the roster left, and it was just us, and we pulled from really kind of like, sure, there are those natural embellishments to tell a better story, but a lot of what season 9 was each of our truths kind of just in some capacity of like, I'm from the theater department of Bloomsburg. Andre is an immigrant from the Dominican Republic. Jordan's a Republican at the time. And at the time, if you're going to be a heel, you're going to be a Trump supporter. So it's like, it's those things that just, and then you're going to fall in love with this trans person and you're not going to know they're trans until after.
And he fell in love because she sang this the national anthem.
And sang the national anthem. And it's those things that just, because of who we are and just we came together at the right time to be able to tell such a fun, like good story for the time. It's like one of my favorite just moments of like just performing was that thing backstage where I shaved my beard talking about like what America is. And it was just like that organically came about just from us being there and wanting to put on a story. And that was, we had no choice but to tell story because our physical skills at wrestling weren't nearly as good. My first match with Corey was hardly a little bit of grappling and I got choked out by a headlock. That was to demonstrate that I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not very good of a wrestler. Lo and behold, I then win at the end of the season. And it's just like, it's to tell a story of it. And so we're really, I was just talking with the boys as you brought us Precious basically. And he's one of the ones I'm really excited to see what he comes up with as far as like wanting to tell stories and
well, it's fun because it's interesting to see how you guys are looked up to by this new class as, hey, we need to figure out how to, maybe the Sanctuary doesn't go back to the as much story and skit. It was like Saturday Night Live with pro wrestling. And now it's the point where it's kind of resparking itself, and you have people coming from Creative Pro, you have people coming from all over the place who want to wrestle there and get their work and do their thing. So the storylines are hard to book because it's such a revolving door of people wanting to come in there and get their shine, that it's funny that the new class are one of the main guys who are still like, hey, Trotsky, I know you got your hands full booking your main title and your Ace Austins and your Hawthorns and your Polinos. Here's what we thought of and brought to the table. So they're kind of looking at what you guys have done previously, and they're coming up with it on their own, still running it by you guys and be like, here's our idea for stories. And the fact that they're taking that ambition is awesome to see. And it really paid off for them. Like at the end of the season, like just last season alone, the transformation of the Honor Society, and I can't believe I said their name properly. You're going to get that one. Their transformation of who they were at the beginning to the end of the season. Look at Vincent. It was referee Vincent, and he didn't get his first match to the end of the season before that. And then this whole season, he was an impact player. Like he was someone that came in and had moments, you know?
Vince and I spent the entire last winter. It was literally just me and him working out. Like, and that was the thing where I really knew Vince was going to be the head of his class, as far as I think that's probably what gave him the confidence to say I'm the A student, because he spent the most time in the ring. That just makes it, that tracks. That's just a fact. He has spent more time
to get the results
in the ring than anyone in his class. So, and that's where I did feel bad that like we weren't able to give them those cinematics and those storyline things. There's always another angle we have kind of always floating around in our heads for them. That's an everybody kind of thing, is we have storylines and thoughts and our list of bad ideas that Tom and I will still bring up. We're still holding on to Winter Car Wash. That will happen. That one we've been holding on to for a couple of years now.
Bikini Winter Car Wash.
Oh man, there were some of the ideas for the pandemic year. ooh, my God, dude, because we didn't really know what that season arc, so we were just throwing out ideas and spitballing things. That was when the puppets kind of showed up too.
Yeah.
We'll get on to that. That's a secret.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as far as just them and their initiative of wanting to do the story, because they know they are all fans. We're all fans, and so them watching like two guys wrestle. Okay, yeah, whatever. What's the juice? What's the intrigue of this? Or if we're watching the match and we're going cold and we don't know anything about these guys, what about the match can be entertaining or provocative and get us really hooked into it? And I really think that the guys are starting to that the confidence in their just how their bodies move in the space, and they're able to then now we can turn up a little bit more character. Vince is really like he's a shit talker in training. Like when he's working out, like we're just working out. He will talk a lot of shit. And I'm like, oh, that's good. Express.
He's gonna be a good heel. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's. Well, he's trained by heels. That's where the House of Heels is the running joke. It's John and Billy and then me. I'm the spawn of them. And
yeah. But I think you're just as good as a babyface as you are a heel. You're very diverse. I know you like your heel role, but I think you really fell into the babyface this season.
I have the kind of like nagging back of my mind judgment of myself of like jack of all trades, master of none, because I'm really into a lot of just general stuff in my life. So the fact that like I've been able to focus my acting and my wrestling and be able to push it as far as I have, really, I can smile about that. But it's like being good at everything in wrestling is this is a paraphrase from Rosh. It's like it's not always a good thing because sometimes like they need specific things in a promotion. Yeah. It's like, God,
so here's where I think you fall into, and correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but I think if you walk into a promotion day one, your visual look, everything about you screams old school 80s, 70s wrestling heel. The body hair, your beard, the way you present yourself is everything that a heel does. But I think the more you work at a promotion and the more people see sometimes you as out of character or see just the more they just see you and they see your body of work and you as a person, you slowly become the baby face because I think people start to fall in love with your body of work. And then, so like, I think initially walking in the door, you're the best heel you're going to be and you can play it and you're going to be fantastic at it. But the longer you stay there, I think people naturally fall in love with you.
Yeah, well, people have the access to the internet and they can see all the stuff I've done, my background and stuff like that. And I like to think that who I am as a person is a generally likable person.
Very much so.
Thanks, buddy. Right back at you. And yeah, that kind of that runs into the old bit of the cool heel sort of thing. I don't know. I'm an attention whore, so like being the baby face, and I like I maybe it's a praise kink, I don't know, but I do really enjoy the baby face. I just don't think I'm as good as like the fire up rah kind of baby face.
So for me, I don't like those baby faces. Those baby faces, the Hogans and the Cody Rhodes of the world, I can do without. Yeah, you know what I mean? I like the baby face with a little bit of an edge, you know?
It's like the kind of Bret Hart baby face where it's like, I'm just here to fucking wrestle, man. And
yeah.
Let's do some good work.
Here's a good one in the chat. I'm not ignoring you guys in the chat, but this one just stick out. I love the fact when you see JS at any show, you never know what role he'll be playing. Is he a face? Is he heel? Is he the ring announcer, the MC, the cosplay? Always excellent. That doesn't get any better than that.
Stay tuned for Saturday at Outbreak. I'm going to be on Ring Crew, so.
There it is. Yeah, and he can go from ring announcer to wrestling real quick. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I'll go there in like my black shirt, my Dickies, and I'll be just ready to do Ring Crew stuff. And they say, oh, we need someone to do this thing.
Always have your gear ready.
Go to something else, and yeah,
that's why I show up at every venue I go to, and I have my podcast equipment in the trunk.
Yep.
Because you never know. And they're like, yo, something broke. And I'm like, I have a whole setup.
Oh yeah, that's where it's like there's been so many times whether I'm in the ambulance or I just half my belongings will be in my Subaru, and I'm just like, they need this one niche specific thing that'll fit this. I'm like, I think I might have that. Mm-hmm. Go and grab, and then they're like, oh, thanks, man, and then I can help people out that way. So, but that's part of like the training the boys. It's I like to help, and making them better makes me better. So it's that classic of we're putting other people over, we're helping other people. It's this business doesn't work with catty ego bullshit, and so being there, we're because again, I come into this from an actor mindset, and a show does not work with egos. It's not militant as far as like there's a chain of command. There's like the director whose vision of the thing, but it's so collaborative. All of this it's a collaborative art form and effort. And that's what I really love about pro wrestling of like, I played football. I was starting varsity freshman year. I lost track after 5 concussions, almost broke my neck. My knees are blown. My back is bad. My ankles are poop. That is all from a sport that is intentionally like physical to that point of I'm going to kill you or you're going to kill me. Wrestling is we're gonna put some shots in. We're going to slam each other real hard. But the entire time, I'm looking out for you and you're looking out for me. And on that collaborative level, and we're trying to tell this story, it's all theater. And I love that. And I'm such a physical person. Like my energy, or just like I like to touch and be touched. And that's just that's how I can tell a story with my body. And I'm not afraid to put my body in that space of pain or danger in order to get a reaction. I don't know where we were at, but I'm sorry, I just tangent.
No, dude, we're just rolling. I love it. So here's what I think is gonna be a common theme you're gonna hear a lot, at least this month or maybe the first couple months of this year is like we were kind of talking beforehand, and you said it hasn't really hit you until you said kind of this week is just reflecting on your year of 2022. Take us back to last year and just some things that's fresh on your mind that you're like, wow, I got this done in 2022, or this is a moment that happened for me this year. What are some things you're thankful for? What are some things that you accomplished that you're proud of?
Probably the first thing that kind of kicked off was I think I was just looking at Instagram, it was March of 2022. Was the culmination of at Invictus Wrestling was the Takeover versus Sin angle, and that one was special for a couple of reasons. Of like, that was probably my first like arc outside of Sanctuary, at like another promotion of like, here's a stable, here's a story we're going to tell, here's it's going to go through its conclusion. And I felt that was really cool. But not only that, but the actual finish of the angle was the unsanctioned match, which is I still talking to Alex Sacetta, one of the owners of Invictus, about at the big super camp. I was talking to him about it. I was like, he'll still just kind of watch that sometimes and just be like, because we literally, and this is part, I want to say things, but I want to keep some of the things special just for me of just this. We literally just made each other bleed and kicked the ever-loving piss out of each other, and then hugged and said thank you, and we're so appreciative for each other. And that was like such a fascinating thing. It was just a bunch of people doing something, telling an interesting story, and beating the ever-loving piss out of each other doing it. And we all walked away from it, and that was just a magic thing. I still remember Abs looking at me so funny, because after that match, I'm bleeding from my head. I've got tacks all in my face and my arms. I'm still wearing my Mick Foley flannel and my signed Cactus Jack shirt covered in my own blood. And I'm just sitting there taking photos with these kids. And Abs is like, you could sell it, right? I'm like, yeah, I am. Like I'm trying to get some money, and I'm not bleeding like this just for nothing.
Peter in the Long in the Chest is one of my favorite people and performers in wrestling. I love calling this dude's matches and just being around him. The vibe is wonderful. I couldn't agree more, Pete. Yeah, dude, my first season at the Sanctuary with Pete was insanely special to me, and just really learning the Sanctuary vibe, and like I said, you were a huge part of that roster and everybody else that was there. I listen, I'm not shy to say it when it comes to the place I like to fly that flag the most, man. I love me some Sanctuary. I love it.
It's
You know what I mean? I'm
it's
very proud. I'm
that's
proud to be a part of that situation.
that's that
Um,
collaborative space, man.
and it's a place seriously, and I'm not trying to like pull the curtain back too hard, but it's a place where we're all walking in for one reason and one reason only, and it's just the passion to make that place better, to make that
Oh,
place more known, and no one's leaving with anything but what they walked in. And
and
it's
then
just a place where everyone just comes to make art.
that just reminded me of what he had said about like the creative pro guys and the backbreaker folks and some wild Samoan people. Is just like the revolving door of the Sanctuary is like that. One of the things of like Sanctuary doesn't move. Sanctuary is one place in Hazleton. It doesn't have the luxury of being able to travel and be a traveling show. So it's a destination. And we want to keep it that way, but mostly it's for the benefit of the people that come and train. It's the Vinces, it's the Zachs, it's these guys that are there, and all these people. And that's how I met Colby. That's how I met Jamie. And these people are coming in, and Ace will do a seminar when he's here sometimes, and it's such a great resource. And yeah, I've seen other training schools and they do it differently and how they work and operate. And I want to like copy some things when I can get there and do stuff. And then even when I'm not there and just that's the other thing is now that I'm not in Sanctuary or I'm not in Hazleton as much right now. I have the confidence that they have such a good fundamental understanding of their work that they can improve by themselves. But then they do have the opportunities of when we do have the shows or, hey, just our training.
Well, that's one other thing Trotsky be the first one to tell you. He's like, listen, go get trained at backbreakers. Go to the dungeon. Go to the Samoans. Go to these wrestling schools. The more you go to schools, the more you're going to learn from different people and you're going to learn different things. And then come back here and I'll teach you how to be safe and I'll teach you how to build your character.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to in 2023 doing Sanctuary stuff still continuously, going and training and getting that. But then also extra bonus points because my girlfriend lives in Lancaster. I'm going to hop in. I'm going to contact Three Legacies and start working with Ricardo.
Brent, I got to get out there to the school and kind of.
Yeah, no, I went to the one show a couple weeks ago just to help out, and he didn't need it, so I bought a ticket, and Kath and I watched. But there's Bro Keller just wrestled Tarzan Duran, and I really want to watch that. That was a cool thing. Reflecting 2022, another really cool thing. You mentioned GCW, and I just mentioned Tarzan. Was I got a text from Philly Mike saying, "Hey man, I'm trying to put a car together to go to GCW Backyard Wrestling 4." I'm like, "Where's that?" Illinois. And I'm like, "Oof, that's a 14-hour drive. Fuck it. You put the car together, you get the guys, I'll drive." And so it was myself, Tarzan, Philly Mike, and Bristol Lion, Marcus Schuyler, and I got us a campsite. I drive us out there. This whole day was like the weirdest fucking thing. We get out there, they're just putting one of the trampolines together because like apparently last year they like during the pandemic they went a whole wild thing that happened. Fast forward, I end up they send us to go pick someone up from the airport in Missouri, so it's another 45 minutes out. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. I'd rather do that than set up the ring in the hot summertime in the middle of a cornfield. And then on the way back, Brett's like, hey, Brett Laureldale of GCW, he's like, hey, we need fireworks, and Illinois fireworks suck, so pick up some while you're in Missouri. I roll up. There's a statey there. I'm like, I'm at out-of-state plates. I'm like, I'm just picking up fireworks. We leave. Nothing happened. So the next series of events was I was aiding and abetting. This was just aiding and abetting. Was I'm like, hey, it's hot. You only have 3 refs for like an 11 match card. Can I ref one? And they're like, yeah, sure. Okay, you get this match. I'm like, all right. It's a like a scramble out of the ring, whatever, like six man thing or 5 man. I don't remember. All right, boys, what's the finish? It's like it's the second table spot after the fireball. Okay, cool. Right on. And so while I'm prepping for that, while we bought fireworks, I bought myself a firework sword, like a little sparkler sword. Since I didn't have a match, I handed it off to Jimmy Lloyd. That's the reasonable thing to do with a fireworks sword because he's in the main. He can do something fun with it. I go do my thing. As you've seen, Facade as Vampiro blows a fireball and that whole thing happened. Then we're prepping for the main. And so all the refs have lighters. So Jimmy Lloyd can light this table in case the Perch somehow loses his. And we're waiting around and Joey Janela's having his match. And he's like, lighter, I need a lighter. I'm like, oh, man. He goes and gets a sparkler sword, the one I handed off to Jimmy Lloyd. So now Joey Janela has it. I'm like, oh, God, what's happening? He lights it, and he's standing, and he's pointing it at the guy. He's just standing there pointing it like it's a Roman candle, and it's just shooting out sparks out the end. He's just standing there. I'm like, Joey, no, it's just a sparkler sword. He goes running after the guy. He rounds the ring, still pointing it, and one Roman candle shot, boom, hits the guy right in the ribs. And I'm just like,
I didn't know it shot shit out.
I was like, oh my God.
Now, during that thing, didn't you get a little bit of a mean tweet from someone in the business? They didn't like your ref gear?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't know that it was like a Nick Gage thing to like want to fight and hate the refs. And part of the messed up part of my head was like, do it. Come on. So because I had my shirt and it was hot. So I'm wearing my poofy fucking Hawthorne pants that are black and white, but I'm wearing my ref shirt that I've now cut for a crop top. This is backyard. We're fucking around. Then I take the cutoff part, make a headband. So I look absolutely ridiculous. And Nick Cage is like, who's this ref?
Who's this piece of shit ref? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Philly Mike he's great for that. Where he's like, yo, I'm getting a car full, and that's I love car rides in wrestling.
It's because Philly Mike doesn't have a car.
Yeah. Philly Mike's trying to get there, but it is cool when you get a car full of people because those memories are the best you're gonna have.
Yeah, no, that's all.
I drive with Pete. I drive with Pete and Mike like 4 hours of Jersey or 3 hours of Jersey, and we don't even turn the radio on. It's just a great conversation the whole way.
Oh yeah.
But we went to a GCW show with Mike, and he got a chance to work. And the whole time I'm there, like Nick walked in, and I'm like, me and Sierra or Riley are like, there's fucking Gage, like mark it out a little bit. But no, those memories are cool with those traveling. But I hope you don't. I'm trying not to bury the lead here because there's obviously one standout moment in 2023, and I hope you save that towards the end. But anything else that stands out for you this year?
Let me try and think of my whole thingamajig. So yeah,
and if anyone has any questions in the chat, please put them in there. If you have any questions or anything you want to say to the amazing J.S Hawthorne here.
Let's see. Oh yeah, the Smash Master debut stuff happened. That was a wild one because I accidentally double booked myself with my improv group, and because I was like, oh yeah, it's the same day, it'll be fine. Improv show at night. We usually do it at night and everything, but it was a Sunday, and theater always works on a matinee schedule. So Smash Master starts at 2:00. The improv show started at 3:00, an hour away. So I'm like, oh shit, I just got to do this. So I do the match with Jordan, had a really fun match. And because the last time him and I did a singles outside of Sanctuary was WXW. We did 2 of them, and that's when we were green as goose shit. So they're terrible. They're on YouTube. You can find them. Enjoy. It's bad. But I get done with Jordan and I book it out of there, and I did an hour drive in 40 minutes. So yeah, and then I had the improv show, so that was fun. the stuff that Smash has just been that's been a lot of fun.
Smash has been a good time. I obviously didn't get a chance to do Smash for a while, but I came for the last couple, and man, they ended Smash with a really exciting year. Ho 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 was a really cool moment, a really cool environment, a really cool way to end the year, and I think they're going into the next year with a big momentum swing. We'll talk more about that at 7:00 tonight when Rosh himself, Uncle Masty, is on the podcast.
There you go.
But here's a match I'll throw out for you here that I thought was really cool, and someone because of Smash, I became a mega fan of. I love the dude, Vinny Glamrock. You and Vinny Glamrock at the brewery show.
About to get there.
I was so fucking sad and depressed that I couldn't make it to that. So I'm not sure how much you're aware of that scenario, but I went and did a podcast with Banging Beers at Rusty Rail. He found out I'm a wrestling commentary guy. Vinny Glamrock was putting the show together. Then I said, well, dude, do you have commentary? He goes, no, we never even thought of that. I said, do you have production? Do you have people filming it? And he goes, no. And I said, well, have this dude hit me up. I then put Vinny Glamrock in contact with HTW. Yep. HTW brings our boys in, and now this a venue that hopefully stays a thing every year. The brewery shows have now invaded with our group and their group. Yep. And it was an awesome moment, and I was so bummed I couldn't be there. That one hurt a lot, but I'm glad that you and Vinny had that match because it was super entertaining.
Yeah, that one came about was a couple interesting things happened around that time. We had done, there was like a brew fest at a couple towns over that we did to promote the show with Rusty Rail. So we're doing that thing, and that's where I spit that beer in Vinny's face. Because it was like this weird lime thing. It was
Brewfest Wrestling is going to blow up in 2023. I'm telling you right now. Deppin's show that he put in the middle of downtown Pottsville, people stopped drinking and they just hung out and watched wrestling the whole time. And then he did another one during the fall inside of a fire hall, and he had beer and wrestling, and people love the wrestling too. That's going to be a thing. I'm telling you. Keep putting those together because people are they're going to be into it.
I'm actually mad about when that setup happened, when I spit beer and ran, that I didn't get cuffed by the cops because we warned them that this was going to happen. So I'm mad I didn't take the opportunity to get taken out or get tased. That's just me. I'm sick in the head like that. But so then I did end up, one of my most favorite promos is that little 80s like making fun of anyone, because I just like fun bits. It's just a fun bit.
He's such a nice guy too. He's such a sweetheart.
He is. He
needs to get booked more in our area because I love being around him.
He's one of those guys that, like, from the back in the day, man, and he's still like so cool.
By the way, this is his business card. It's a concert ticket.
Oh my God, yes, and it's got a QR code for the game and everything.
It's amazing. It's my favorite. So good. He's such a he's on my list of people to come on the show. He's
definitely a great one to talk to. But yeah, him and I didn't even talk our match, like because he was running that Rusty Rail show, so he was busy doing other stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, no, we'll just go old school, and he's old school, so he'll run it. Yeah, that was one of the one things I was like, I want to do it. Fun fact. I actually got my first pro wrestling stitches in that match.
And then wrestled 2 days later at Sanctuary with stitches in your chin.
From that beer barrel, because what you don't realize is that because the oblong shape of a barrel, I pushed it over, and you can barely see it happen, but it just happened so fast. I pushed it over, and I went to get it. And because of the oblong shape, it kicks up, caught me right under the chin. And I didn't even know I was bleeding. I was like, ow, that hurt. Okay, do the barrel walk thing. And then Dylan, who was our ref, he's like, hey, Hawthorne, you got color. I'm like, oh, huh. Did they tell us to stop? He's like, no. I was like, okay, let's keep going. So, and then I go back, and the guy who was the doctor for that show was like, yeah, this is my first time giving wrestlers stitches. I'm like, this is my first time getting stitches. All right. And it was just one little thing under the chin. Luckily, my beard covers it up, but that was a time. And the other fun thing about that show, well, one, it was so hot. It was so unbearably hot, just baking in the sun. To lay on that mat for more than a second was just like,
You're like Yokozuna on the Intrepid.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, if we do that again and it's summertime, let's put it inside the brewery. There's plenty of space. Okay.
Yes.
But for the entrance of that, I knew what he was going to be doing. And I was like, man, I got nothing. So I did the whole stumbling out drunk thing. And then I'm sober. It's ginger ale, you idiots. Ha ha. And then he comes rolling out in like a Trans Am or whatever the hell.
Blast and Kickstart My Heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love it. Fucking love it.
It's those kind of like, and that's what I like about babyface stuff is like the amount of fun that you can kind of just invoke with certain things. Because I'll do it all the time of like, I'll be listening to a song and it's like, all right, does this time up with my lights at Sanctuary if I were to do a babyface thing? Or like, just where it's like, okay, how many seconds before the song kicks? You know, you got the intro, and wham. And I've just got an archive of like, do you need this gimmick? Oh, I can't fit that thing, but I can have, and I don't want to give it to anybody, but I want it to be experienced. And I'm like, I can't be that person to do it. And it's like, shit.
So we're getting here to close to the 50-minute mark here. I try to keep them to an hour. Plus, I said we are definitely going to have this conversation again. So if you have any questions, please get them in. But we would be doing this conversation injustice here if we didn't talk about what I feel is your 2022, and I'm sure you're going to feel the same exact way. But you ended the year at Sanctuary in a title match, and in that title match, you got to work Ace Austin. And if you haven't followed the Sanctuary story for the past year, 2 years, I mean, this is long-term storytelling of your stumble, your fall, you're fired from the company at one point in time, then came back and, kind of went from that heel to the baby face to the heart of the Sanctuary, but you were still kind of second fiddle a little bit to Palco, but you can never get the win over him. And then you know what I mean? And then having the Prince Ahmed thing, you had a lot in your plate storyline wise. And then it culminated to you just making beautiful art with Ace Austin. And I really felt like used to in that match set a precedent and set a bar for what the Sanctuary is going to be going forward. And take us through that.
I'd like to apologize to you, Tony. I know you were really looking forward to me getting the win, and you got real emotional. Sorry, I couldn't bring it home for you.
Dude, it was emotional win without the win or without the – because, like, here's the deal. That was my second full season since technically at the Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. But the more I'm in that commentary booth, man, the more I start feeling the story and the more I start getting passionate about it. And I had a blast with Pete and I have a blast with Brian. And it was just so special to see from start of the card to the finish of the card, everyone have their moment and then their end moment at that show, but not to end it, but to carry on to the next season. Mm-hmm. And I think the crowd is full. And listen, Ace helps bring a crowd in, but I really think every single talent in that roster that this season really helped put more people in those seats. And really, I feel like this is going to be a thing going into the next season. Like, I still have people messaging me like, dude, I see you post all the time about that place. I can't wait to go next season. Like, we're all doing our part to make those seats be filled. And I think the storylines speak for themselves. And I think what we're putting on as art here is amazing. And I think just the cherry on the cake with yours 2 matches, like, bro, that whole night was emotional. Like, it was just such a good moment for all of us. And it was beautiful. It was beautifully done.
I really, it's if you make it, they will come kind of mentality for everybody of just like, it's not, we know that we're not going to draw. We know that we're not paying the boys out. It's just, we're here to improve ourselves and get better at what we do. So
if we're working to put people in the seats to pay the bills, to keep the venue available for us, essentially, like no one's there for a paycheck. We're trying to not lose our spot, essentially.
Yeah, we because everything's out of pocket for John, so it's literally he's losing $10,000 a year on it. So
he's losing $10,000 for all of us to make art.
Yep, to play fight.
For us, to play fight, and it's a special place. I don't care what anyone tells me.
So then it is really up to us to make it that special thing. So like, from you were even bringing it back to the Walker clan versus Team Sanctuary thing, which made us all baby faces. And then leading into this season this was definitely my big arc really, but still carrying on those things or those rivalries that we could. And it just, from the Stampede, that was my first time going like an hour in a match. Then Palco and I going 30-minute Broadway, first time doing half hour. Each of these things John gave to me, not just because, I earned it that way, but this is a test. We're like, this is the Sanctuary School. I'm still one of its students as far as, you haven't done this thing. Here's an opportunity to do this thing in a story. You haven't done this thing yet. How do you do this? Okay, then we move on to the next one. Here's this one. And so each of those were kind of tests for me to kind of show what I've learned and to get better, and then incorporating those important things of, well, we have to get Palco over because he's about to ship out to Kuwait. So how do we tell the story of Palco?
My storyline was better, by the way.
Which was that?
Billy Walker, I thought was going to punch me in the throat when I pitched it. I said, well, how are we pitching Jordan leave? And they go, just we're going to do a shoot, like legit. He's getting deployed. I go, that's boring. I said, he should have been part of the insurrection and the FBI take him away. And Walker goes, no.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Trotsky thought it was funny too.
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. The whole supreme commander of the Space Force was John's idea anyway, so of course he loved it.
Could you imagine if that was a storyline?
Jesus. But so
Sanctuary gets raided. Trotsky thinks it's the State Athletic Commission, but it's the FBI taking Palco because he stole the podium.
He stole the podium. Oh my God.
He's the one who shit on Pelosi's desk.
And that's the Looney Tunes stuff that we do miss, of like let's just do something for the fun of it. We know it's a bit. Let's just film it for fun and make content, and that's what I'm hoping we can get the students now that I'm trying to poke them a bit, say, hey, if you have something, just film a concept of it, and then if we can do it again and polish it if we really want. Hey,
Hawthorne versus Palco.
You can vote on match of the year, moment of the year, and a bunch of stuff like that from Smash Master from all this.
Great promo year. Leading up to that too. You guys got some.
That was the thing during that. Jordan and I the promo for that. That was Jordan and I really getting back into our chemistry of, we did the stuff in the Rumble, we did that Smash Master thing, then we did our Broadway. So that was really us kind of getting back together and working with each other, because we trained up together. Those are the best people to wrestle. That's why Andre and I killed it at Outbreak, was because we had most of our training was together. So I know how he moves, he knows how I move and work. And so it's one of those things, and that really helped me. Ahmed, however much we're rivals.
I've seen that match 100 times, and I'll watch it 100 more. You know what I mean? I'll watch you and Prince Ahmed. I'll watch you wrestle anyone any day of the week. I'll watch Ahmed wrestle anytime I can. Like, you guys are just magic.
Dude's a machine. He when they say he's a submission like specialist, like he almost separated both my shoulders. It's not like don't fuck around with Prince Ahmed, man.
Philly Mike said his match at Smash, there was a couple times like, yo, let it loosen it up a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, that's even the thing of like he and I.
And he's such a sweetheart. He's like, I'm so sorry. But in the ring, he's like, I'll kill you. Like,
it hurts my brain. I'm like, stop. Stop. But him and I were both trained by Billy, and so those kind of hook in. It's like, Mm-hmm. It's no joke. But so I wouldn't be able to do that story and have those moments without Jordan, without Andre. And that was the story we told in the Rumble and the Stampede with Andre. And then he got his thing with Marcy. I wouldn't be able to do it without
beautiful
Ahmed.
Match.
And then the culmination with Ace that was the first time I'd done 2 matches in one night, let alone 2 matches of such significance.
2 matches in one night, and probably a match with, in my opinion, and I'm not saying it just because we're buddies with him, who I think is legit going to be the face of professional. Like, the way we talk about AJ Styles now is how we're going to talk about Ace Austin.
I fully believe that. Just the everything is archived. Everything
That's a
is
by the way, that's an Ace
visual.
Austin Chris Bay new shirt right there.
Nice. Ace is young, and that's the killer. Ace is younger than I am, but he's been in it for twice as long as I have, and so he has those reps. He has the work ethic. God damn, does he have the work ethic? Did I ever told you I did a leg day with Ace Austin?
That was silly.
I couldn't walk for a week. I legitimately could not walk properly for a week. And
His legs like
said,
an NFL running back.
Do you know what he said to me? He says, "Yeah, we're going to do a light leg day." The dude is unbelievable, and he has he's got the support of Georgia Lee, who's just a sweetheart, and she's going to do amazing things.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, Georgia Lee is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
God damn, there I go simping again. It's like Rhea Ripley nowadays. Like I can't. I can't.
That's my
but they're just
middle school kid coming out.
But they're good people, and I was so thankful for Ace. Was like, I'm part of me is like glad that the finish was lackluster. Personally, with me and Ace, I was like, it was just kind of happened, and we were just like, oh, it just. But
He's got me on commentary. I thought 100% you were leaving the title, and then when it didn't happen, I was like, oh.
Well, yeah, and it sucked. It sucked the air out of the match. It was just kind of like, oh, it just. But I'm not upset about it because it's the classic bit of leave them wanting more. And that means, and that's also for me is I want more out of that. And now, because I've replayed that ending, it's like, oh, what if I did this, and this? That would have been so much more of a compelling ending than just happening. So, but Hawthorne Ace 2 will happen. I guarantee that. That's just. I've got a bunch of goals that I want.
The first thing I seen, I when it happened, I was like, "Oh, they got me!" And I'm on commentary, and they got me. And then I went, "I fucking wanted this so bad for John." And then I went, "Oh, Ace is coming back again next year."
You know what that guarantees?
Which is always great. But and I kind of want to ask, repose this question to you. So, like how you said, you had such an amazing year wrestling. You and Philly Mike's match at the Sanctuary, I think on a first Friday it was fantastic. You and Vincent Chase had a good match this year. You know what I mean? Like working Prince Ahmed as much as you did, working Palco, working Andre. What is it, working like all the people you've wrestled in your career? What is the difference of wrestling in Ace Austin? What is the experience like just grappling with him, mentally working with him, putting the match together? Like, where does it rank working with a 2-time X Division champion and someone who's on the indie scene still? Like, is there a clear drop off? Or is there people on the indie scene that you're like, wow, they're right up there with an Ace and we don't know about it yet? Or is he just is he light years ahead of everybody? In a positive way. This is not to put anybody down.
No. Yeah, absolutely. I was studying Ace before because you want to know about these guys. Even before I knew I was going to wrestle him, it was just kind of okay. I want to do and what I immediately understood about Ace Austin was that he understands branding, not only in what he wears but how he works. Of his signatures are brand like that. If you watch some of his matches in Japan, the matches will have these 4 moves or whatever, and they will have them. And so his ability to kind of have those staples of things that people will recognize him as, and then add in all the other things that shows just how like good he is. Like he'll do the little card slit thing. That's just one of his. That's Ace Austin. That's right there. Boom. No one. That's Ace. So to do those things and have those
like
kind
triple, like spine buster, the people's elbow, the fucking urinal, like every top guy has those 2 or 3 things. Yeah,
that's one of those marks of someone who knows these things. Muscle density. The dude is what 5'9", 5'10", and just a brick.
What do you think he weighs?
Oh man, he's got to be 2. Like there's no way he's not over 2.
You know what? We just talked about this the other day. You know what Darby Allin's listed up as weight online?
Huh?
180. I said not a chance.
No. But no, yeah, but again, it's that muscle density that you can't. Yeah, okay, you can have show muscle, but Ace has the go muscle to go with it, and it shows. And his explosivity has always been something I've paid attention to.
How strong is he?
Dude, when we were doing that leg day and we were on a Smith machine trading squats, doing like sets of 12, and we're in like set 7 or 8, and he's just. It's not just about strength. I'm also going to be looking into doing a bit more plyometric work, because Ace also does DDPY. So not only is he stupid strong, but he's also incredibly flexible.
Yes.
But so it's his cardiovascular like endurance to be able to be strong over that period of time. It's unreal, and he puts in the work. He built his bat cave with his weights and everything, and like I knew it. It's like even the people he carries like with him sometimes, like he'll come on the road with guys like that have the definition, and they're no joke physically. So it's he has to compete with people on that physical level, and that was the thing before I was saying about like guys in the industry now of like you almost are forced in certain ways. Like, yeah, okay, you have different body types and people with different physical abilities that work around whatever, but if you're in the X division, there's a certain style and certain physical ability that you have to be able to continuously, consistently work, and he is outworking himself. And it's even when we were talking the match, it was just there was just this ease to it. There was no like panic about it. Of course not. It's just he will write down the number of the match on his wrist tape, and then he has them all collected, balled up. He has a collection of all his like match numbers. So
dude, when he told the story of his house fire, and he was like, I thought I lost my notebook with all, like, he goes, I have a notebook with every single one of my matches written down and like notes I took. Like, that's how in depth he is with his.
He's doing the list, and I'm very mad at myself that I haven't.
He started at like day one. Like he had like that's his mentality going into professional wrestling. Is from day one he goes, I'm going to be this person, and he literally made a journal about it. Like that's the kind of things that people don't know about this guy. That like when his career is done in 30 years, 40 years, he's gonna have a book that you can probably like he could publish of his notes and his like he's just such a good human. And like I said, he is going to be a absolute megastar, and it's unbelievable. We'll end here with this question, and then we'll get out of here. Everyone online is doing it, so I'm going to start asking it in podcasts. I think it's a nice little clip we can put on the internet for people to see, and we can speak things into existence. What's your hit list of 2023? Who do you want to work, and where do you want to work? Let's put some names out there.
All right. So I had put Ace Austin 2 will happen. I would like a Damian Chambers too, because he's part of the reason I was fired the other season. So that's one of the Ace Austin guys I would mention. Darius Carter
too. Ooh, Darius Carter. I'll watch him wrestle every weekend too. He's so talented.
Yeah, no, it's I intergender. I don't care who. I just want more intergender wrestling, just to be out there. Man, I'm trying to go to Canada. I'm trying to go to Europe. Specific promotions, it's really hard. I want to get back down to North Carolina to see Colby, maybe wrestle Colby, Carino, maybe do Deadlocked Pro. I'd like to go to Firestar Pro Wrestling in North Carolina again at some point. There's just there's so many. There's just places in Jersey that I haven't worked too much. Man, it's really hard to think of like specific names of places. I had a list of people. I gotta bring it up. I'm sorry, Tony.
Bring it up. No, please take your time.
I had a bit of a list of just kind of.
I love that Darius Carter one. That one.
That one.
That does something for me.
That's what I'm really hoping for. it's just you see people, you're like, I really like the way they work. Oh, I want to work Jamie again. Actually work Jamie Senegal in a match, and it also gets me out to Arizona, I guess, because she's getting back into it now. Where is it?
I have some people who express a lot of interest in the sanctuary that I get to bring along for some First Fridays from the Jersey scene and a few other people. Some really cool characters. So,
and that's part of the other reason why I want to be going out and networking is to get these people to come back to Sanctuary, or they see me, they know that I'm from Sanctuary, and they want to look into it the way they look at the Ace Austins and the Anthony Bowens and the guys that have passed through. But so here's what I had posted about like some specific stuff was internationally, Canada, Europe, to be a better draw for the places I'm already at, like AXW, which was formerly Outbreak, now under the guise of Kevin Kelly. Did I tell you that I told Kevin Kelly that I wanted to be in the G1 Climax someday? Just dropped. I just dropped it, and I was like, "What did I just say to him?"
Me and Kevin Kelly went on like a roast battle of each other at Icons. Like he started roasting me, and I started roasting him back, and I was like, either he's gonna hate me by the end of the day or absolutely love me. And then we went and ate pizza together. So I think I'm on his good side. Good, like he kept like saying, nobody wants to listen to your stupid podcast. Stop handing stickers out. And I go, didn't The Rock call you a hermaphrodite? Shut up.
Nice.
Yeah. And then Ian Rickenbacker and Joe Dabrowski came over, and I go, finally, some good commentators on this side of the room. Like we just roasted each other all day. It was
fantastic. Oh, I also now that I'm looking myself in the image, I guess now I'm feeling a bit more oozy. I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's because when
you should do that. You should do that as a bit. You should come out with the honor. You should wrestle Alpha Jr. in an honorary ooze shirt.
That'd be funny. Speaking, I'm trying to, as I said before, train at Three Legacies a bit. I'm going to be hopefully going back to the CZW Combine on the 15th this year.
If you were at a venue where Alpha Jr. was at, and they were like, yo, there's a big surprise coming, and they hit the Bloodline music, and you just came out dancing without showing your face right away, I'm guaranteeing at least 10 to 20% of the crowd will 100% think Sami Zayn legit showed up. 100%.
You need the pants.
Yeah, people would buy it for a little bit until they actually caught a look at you. But at first, they would 100 like, oh my god, that'd be amazing. Please, someone book that in 2023 before this bit heads up.
Can't. But yeah, I'm trying to get to CZW a bit more for training and stuff like that. It's tough because they're down in Jersey, so the travels it's tough sometimes. Do new states, new promotions, blah blah blah.
Well, if you do CZW, I need you versus one person down there.
Who's that?
You and Deshaun Pratt.
Yep. Thought about that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one on my list. I'm trying to put together seminars for acting to bring to like backbreakers. I've already had kind of discussions about doing that. I did a little bit of a experiment with some of the boys, and Rosh was there for it, where I just kind of took them through some acting exercises. So this is my actual specific like wrestling list: was wrestle or tag with Jamie Senegal, wrestle Colby Carino, wrestle Ace Austin round 2, tag with Rosh the Mastodon, wrestle Killian McMurphy round 2, because I haven't done that since the Outbreak quarantine taping.
Yeah.
Wrestle Masha, that was one of my other intergenders. Wrestle or tag with Hamlet Hurts You, obvious reasons. And then wrestle or tag with Darius Carter. Wrestle Damian Chambers round 2, and then I don't know, tag. I want to get better at my tag team stuff. Yeah, but those are just a couple. I have so many more just like in the back of my head that I don't think about. Oh, enjoy wrestling. I want to get out to Pittsburgh and do enjoy wrestling.
I want to work. If you make a car ride to Pittsburgh, I'll go with you, because that's a city. Yeah. I even if I don't get booked, I would love to experience the Pittsburgh scene. That's my thing. I don't care promotion right now, but I would love to just say I did commentary in certain towns and certain cities.
Yeah.
Like that's my
Yeah, I
goal.
know. Rosh and I were doing a bunch of research the other day, just watching their shows and like their
Rise is a pretty cool promotion. I
Rise is
talked
good.
to Jason Hendricks about they're pretty solid. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for episode 13. J.S. Hawthorne, thank you so much, my guy. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you.
It's nothing but the world that's gonna happen for you because of your work ethic and just who you are as a person, because you're just a good human. You ended the year. You ended the year as an amazing wrestler. You ended the year with some extra, with a partner, which is amazing because she's a doll, and I'm happy for you in that aspect. And your whole world is just changing, and I love this for you. Let's keep grinding. Let's keep doing this. Where can people find you on social media? Where can they buy some merchandise? All your links are below, but just kind of put them out there for the people.
Yeah. So just throwing in J.S Hawthorne to any social media should get you there. But I know my Twitter is the JS_Hawthorne. I think my Instagram is like @ThespianHawthorne or something like that. I have a pro wrestling tees shop. You can find my stuff. I've got a couple designs there. I'm trying to get this in a different font to be a shirt eventually. And then I think I have other tees. I can't remember the actual website, but yeah, Facebook thing. My TikTok is KiltWizard72, I think. Yeah, I don't think I added that one in there, but that one's just for fun. Yeah, and then that's my name, my actual name. I'm John. Hi, I'm an actor. That's what I do. The Hawthorne thing is just an extension of myself as a role that I'm gonna give a little inside baseball of why do you do J.S. Hawthorne and all this acting thing like that? Because if I were to fight people as me, I'd be in prison because you don't want to fight me. I don't have morals. Thanks. Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. It's like, oh, you're just generally a nice person. It's like, that's because I'm acting like a nice person.
Because we bottled it deep down inside and hope it never comes out.
I'm channeling my violence through this other guy, so you don't have to deal with this.
Yeah,
guy.
I just make jokes.
Yeah. Compensating. Just
keep
Thank
smiling.
you so much, Anthony. I appreciate it.
No, I love you, brother. Make sure you guys check them out. Also, if you can, the links below for Adena Steele and Philly Mike. Support those guys.
Go give money.
Yeah.
Donate. Help.
Merchandise for ABJ is down there as well. At the Patreon, if you want to, I'm going to push the Patreon a little harder. I know it sucks. I hate doing that carny stuff, but it helps the channel and helps the brand keep going. Also, too, if you listen to this on the audio side, our video, head over to Facebook from my link, and there's a way you can leave reviews. You can leave a review for leaving on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, click the "What did you think of this episode?" and leave a review. I want to start reading reviews on the show. So before the show starts, when that beginning thing starts, I'll shout out your name and what you thought of the previous episode. Thank you so much. Come back to us tonight, live once again on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. For episode 14 with Rosh the Mastodon. We're going to talk all things Smash Master Wrestling, as well as his journey into professional wrestling. Another dear friend of mine who we get to sit down and talk and have some fun. So we'll see you guys later on tonight at 7 o'clock. Here's some outro music by the wonderful Billy Trey, who just sent me new music for some other projects coming up. Let's get out of here.